Okay, good. Melissa, are we here?
We're all set.
Woo! All right, we'll call this meeting of the Finance Committee and the Common Council to order here at 6:37 on the 17th day of November 2025. Welcome everyone. We're talking some numbers and priorities. So we will start with human rights, as we should.
Right. You want to the table or? I'll be there for table that. But I didn't want you to not feel invited. You are always
Strange
invited.
things have happened. We are at page 55. For those of you who want to follow along in the book. Don't see much change in terms of your numbers, is that right? Money numbers? And you feel like what you've got in the list here is adequate to your needs? Okay. Any questions? Questions, comments? Clarification? Okay. There's more. More human rights.
No, it's just a rabbit.
Yes. All right. Good. Well, I think that we're good with this. So thanks for coming. Don't stay so long. Next is civil service, which is page 26 in the book. And after that, we'll be going to community development. Hello, Drew. Page 26 in the book. Civil service.
Rod.
Hi, Robin. Come on up to the table. That seat vacant there?
Yes.
It is.
$20. And sleep right evening. There's one little possibility, so it's easier for people to get in and out. I think so.
All right, are you settled in that office is sort of stuck back in there?
I'm sorry.
Are you settled in? Running the show?
Staying there.
Yeah,
It's a long haul, you know. So.
yeah.
Okay, that reason.
And do you get lost finding your office?
I've been there for a long time in the office. It's never been this.
Place.
Yeah.
It's a weird house.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, but be surprised when nobody's sitting at the front desk from the info card.
Oh,
Yeah, I need a birth certificate. Yeah.
all right.
Everything else, Rob, like, right, the council later about is probably, it was mid-year when you took over.
April.
April, yeah, so he's the new Jackie. And, yeah, probably services.
All right. Fun.
Yes, it is.
So, any stories you want to tell us about your budget here?
Yeah, no stories. There is an error actually in the longevity pay. It's not quite that much. About $500 less. So just mention that. And the council is aware of that.
Okay.
So instead of 4,050, it's actually 3,550.
All right, that's take a point off the total budget.
Yeah, and I think. Don't even.
All right, but it looks like you've gone down a lot in terms of regular pay.
Yes.
So
That was Jackie.
that was Jackie. She
Yes.
was getting paid $158,000.
All her benefits too, so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so good. So that's that one. Anything else there that you would ask about?
Sure. What comprises service contracts?
So this, make sure that I'm on the right stuff. You.
In 2024 was 2,425, then it jumps to 10,000.
So that's for the NeoGov software that was purchased.
Software?
Yes, the software was purchased with the ARPA money, but now we have a subscription, a yearly subscription that we have to pay. So that's the bulk of that. In addition, it's the cost of our office copier.
So So it's not a one-time fee for the software?
It is a one-time fee, but then we also have a subscription that we pay yearly for.
I see.
Yes, so that encompasses that. I think the amount's around 7 per year for the subscription. I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be continuing too much longer though, because they're going to be doing a major overhaul on civil service next year. So normally we have an exam schedule for the entire year, and that exam schedule is stopped as of the end of June. So they're going to do an overhaul on all state testing. So it's going to be a lot of changes there. So I'm not sure the software is going to be helpful after all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
Is that gonna affect the revenues in your department?
I hope not, but we don't know that yet. Till the state kind of unrolls what they're going to be doing.
And that's sometime in 2026?
Yes, we expect around July. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Civil service for other governments, what other governments do we take care of?
So it's other, we take care of the city, but also the housing authority, the library, and the school district.
And the
Yeah.
school district.
Yeah, not teachers, but the school district. I think is, yeah.
Okay.
Michael?
So there is an increased expense in our exam fees.
Mhm. Yeah, because we were short actually, so we're in the red right now.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to increase it to make sure that wouldn't happen again next year, so.
Okay, and then what overtime does your department?
So the overtime would be for the other staff member that we have, because I can't get overtime now, of course, it's management, but that would be Beverly who's in the office too. So we handle a lot of accruals, so time and attendance. So in order to get caught up with that, stay after to do that.
Is it overtime when you have to monitor an exam? Or
No, that
flexible?
she tends to take comp time. I mean, she will sometimes take overtime, but the bulk of the time she wants comp, so she takes some time off. So why it's a little low.
Anything else?
Good.
All right. Thank you for coming in, Rob.
Okay.
And next, we're going to community development. Page 30 of the book. I'm the president of the council, I see.
I'll be that as long as you want.
Okay. What's the big story in your budget here?
You got moved into engineering 75% of the time.
Okay. Uh-huh. And does that mean you're building buildings now?
No,
You building buildings? You moved in 75% in engineering?
that would be.
Okay.
So that's the regular pay as the variance difference? Yeah.
Any questions here?
And, what is your primary, function? I know you do CDBG,
I also run the KLDC.
the KLDC.
And on the backside of the, KLDC pays $30,000 or $35,000 for my salary.
Right. The KLDC. And CDBG covers yourself also, right? Yep.
Anything else? All right, we're good. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
I time it each year, so the shorter you are, the more you're gonna be closer to the beginning.
All right, now we're moving to arts and cultural affairs. Yeah, I don't, where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh. Be there then.
Okay, I'll be here. What page is that?
This is page 15.
Sorry. Together for 9 meetings. Mayor.
Problems?
Kit, what's the story in your department?
During my part, I've been putting down on, quite a bit of, funding from the Novo, Foundation for the last 3 years. And this is where I come into the annual 75. So you'll see that if, we've applied for several grants we haven't heard yet. We're, pretty confident that we're competitive because we're hearing from so many people. Today, I just heard from the National Museum that wants to be a part of what we're doing. It's very, good to be commended in such a way. So that's pretty much what's going on is that, we're waiting to hear from 2 grants and we are intending on getting very creative. We have, right now, the inventory is going to be taking place for about the next, year or so change and in getting creative in raising funds for the repairs necessary for the Work Progress Administration. It's very, very precious. We're responsible for this. And we had a volunteer registrar that did the front assessment of the condition of our Work Progress Administration, and we're looking at least $40,000 needed repair right now, but we did not take it off the wall. Once we take it off the wall, it's probably going to be more like 75. We have some creative ways that we intend on raising the monies for that. One is to exhibit it. As you see downstairs, we have track lights now going up for our exhibition. We'd like to do a special exhibition of the Work Progress Administration holdings and raise awareness as well as, funds. Sponsorships, inspire sponsorships for that. That's my main goal for next year. Because we're very concerned. I've been concerned about the collection since I got here. Otherwise, we've been doing and I've been through this time before, went through a period where not only all nonprofits and institutions were worried about funding, but, seriously worried about funding for the arts. So it's time for me to move forward with more and more strategic partnerships with our organizations. Case in point, we had massively attended Textile Arts Expo last year. We hosted it, but we did not fund it. We didn't have to because the Woodstock Weavers partnered with Art Society of Kingston and became a fiscal sponsor. They helped raise their funds. So in essence, looking forward into not, cutting back on anything that we're doing, but just getting more creative on how we do it and doing more with less and doing it better.
I have questions, but I'm also asking questions on behalf of Alderman Passy. So, and they kind of are intertwined. You mentioned the grants that you're still waiting to hear from. Is that the 2705 line, the 75,000, or is that in addition to?
We didn't mention it because we haven't seen the money yet, so we haven't mentioned it yet.
Okay, so the 75,000 that's here is guaranteed. Okay. And then, so Sarah's question is, what is the cause of the reduction in grant funding from the 102 from 2025 to what is currently 75,000? And is this a reduction in Novo funding?
It's not a reduction. Novo's been giving us 75 a year to got here, but we were spending down 200,000 just sitting there.
Okay. So Novo's giving the same amount. And you're hoping to get, how do you know how much, what would the grant be if we
25. And then there's 2 others that we're looking at. Ruth Ames is now coming. We have formed a committee, strategy and funding committee. Ruth Ames comes to those meetings with the mayor twice monthly. And the grant experts on the fundraising experts on our commission are attending that. So we have pretty much a pretty impressive grant file that we're looking to go after, not only for the collection, but also for our signature burning and pasting. The county has applied for funding for that, but we also are looking at quite a bit more about it as well that we see that we possibly can get. We have a lot of things about.
So what other programming are you looking at doing with the grant funding?
For next year, for the 25 that we applied for. Right now, on December 6th, we have the USA 250 exhibition coming through America. The 250 years of American voices, everything that I do next year is going to be related to this exhibition downstairs. We have music and diplomacy. We're not paying for that. That is partnership with Bard and West Point. These are prominent speakers that are coming to talk about music and diplomacy in America. If we do get the funding, good by them.
So if we can get Bard and West Point to do something cooperatively, that speaks to hopefully the entire country.
Well, of course, I've not seen that yet. I just want to mention also that we've had, such a great partnership with Naples for the work progress administration, and the museum study students and faculty actually catalog that.
Nice.
We didn't have to pay for that. A couple of weeks ago, the engineering department at SUNY Naples came with the models for our missing lunettes. The students and the faculty have been working on that for several years, going back to when Mr. Ford was alive. And we are looking at probably the spring now, where we're going to be installing those, remodeled lunettes.
Oh, nice.
And that's not costing us a dime either. And the students have been doing all of this. They have adopted us for life at this point. They're actually, we do bring a scaffolding, they're going to go up and they're going to take 3D imaging of all of the lunettes. Because if anything happens to any of our lunettes, they intend on continuing to
Nice.
repair. So this is what I mean about strategic partnerships and what have you.
Michael.
So in the sponsorship line for revenue, you requested 1,500 versus 5,000 in the recommended budget. Could you speak to that discrepancy?
What is this?
That's 2006 sponsorships. Requested 1,500, recommended 5,000.
And where, sorry, where did you see that?
So your department request was 1,500 for sponsorships?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
Which one is a mistake?
The 1,500 is a mistake and it's gonna just stay flat. It's gonna stay 5,000.
Okay, 15, in the bottom.
Okay.
John Shuby's also
Here on
Downstairs.
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 Oh, it is, okay.
if there is a question.
Yeah, I requested 5,000.
Hey, John. We're looking at line 2006.
No worries. Fine.
For,
And it was,
yeah, I just jumped on, for whose budget?
Arts and cultural.
Okay,
So it's 7010.
yeah,
And then under that, line 2006 sponsorships.
okay.
We're just wondering why it says 1,500 at recommended, at requested, and jumps up to 5,000 for recommended.
It's 5,000, because typically I'm getting 5,000 in sponsorships from two sources. And I believe that that's what I requested, but that would be, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll have to, let me just take a look here.
Well,
Yeah, I'm sure it was something that was discussed at the meeting. I'm gonna pull the folder to see if there's any notes.
Okay.
All right, did you say Drew?
Did we lose a position here?
Yeah.
The hospital, it was 17,000, 2025, 17,500.
It moves lines.
You just moved lines, that's it?
That was John's doing, I didn't know.
Oh, okay. First one was 17,500, 731, that's all.
Yeah, if you look,
didn't see
So-
here.
Yeah,
472,
We just
58,
changed
21.
line.
okay. Well, I mean, just,
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Why is it there?
why is it duplicate?
Yeah,
Why do we have a duplicate? We have a
it's
duplicate.
not duplicated.
well, it's not duplicated, but it's still on the page, those lines.
It's not in the actual budget book.
The actual budget doesn't change.
So I don't know why in the spreadsheet it's there, but
So
in
you
the-
still have
Well, he changed the line
Health
numbers.
some health insurance, that's all.
I, Randy, can I ask another?
Yeah.
for the, when you had the 102 in grants, that extra $27,000, was that, did you use it for programs or did you use it to pay what's in this budget here, like employee benefits? So basically my question is, last year we had $102,000 and that covered your salary. And then what else did it cover? Because now we have 75,000 and maybe more, but if that's going through the program, is that going to be the same? Has the city always paid for the benefits? Or is that going to be, we're actually paying for the benefits now that we didn't pay for last year? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure on that. I would have to ask them.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the past, so I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, right? We received an award, I believe it was for 3 years for $225,000 to $75,000 a year. So $75,000 is what we're receiving from Novo to fund the departmental program. The grant's not specific as to what it can be applied to, right? So, whatever expenses the department has, we're applying it towards. So, in the past, there was enough revenue of it to balance the budget, relatively speaking. It falls a little bit short this year, but you should see that grant, as long as, this year you see the 75,000, next year it'd be another 75,000 unless there's another grant that comes in. But the 75,000, I think the way we allocate it in a budget is we apply it towards salary and benefits, but it doesn't cover obviously the full salary and benefits. The full salary and benefits is just over 94,000, so we're covering 75,000 of that 94,000.
Haven't we always paid the benefits on this one?
No, we actually, if you look back, if you look at the 2025 budget, the budget balanced. The expenses and the revenues equaled. So, the grant's just a little bit less right now, but it's still covering a preponderance of the personnel costs or of the total cost of the department. The total cost of the department are 109. The grant's covering 75 of it.
Gotcha.
Okay. But there's no reporting, Rennie, that has to be made on this. So, it's pretty generic as to how the city can apply the grant money to the department.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Contract the services, $15,000. What's that for generally?
That would be for the registrar, work on the progress administration piece as well as programming.
Okay, other questions? Great.
So it really does seem like you do a lot with this. Do you have any sense going forward for Rev 250, what your sort of ancillary costs might be in terms of advertising or marketing, or do you absorb those kinds of costs?
Not much because we have the county backing us.
I see. Okay.
So these are the existing resources with the city. We have the county backing us, and the full house that occurred the first Friday running in Kingston, that occurred because of the presenters.
Gotcha.
They marketed heavily, but the county does a lot. And depending, when we had the major installation last year for the First Step to Freedom, that marketing was heavily done by Student Impulse. We did good. Our partners are amazing. And then, we have a full commission who are very well connected. And the commission, whatever we do, the commission gets it out there and they get bodies in the room, as well as our partners.
Michelle, Steve?
Thank you. I love everything that you're doing. We try to come into as much as possible. I'm just curious about costs that get incurred, say on weekends, like just like opening the building, what other costs then do we have to like bring in cleaning crews or things like that that are maybe not necessarily in your budget, but then are overtime costs or things in the rest of this?
I'll just bring an example of what is going to happen with the USA 250 opening exhibition. Pretty much leave it where we found it. Like that. So if we flip the room, the people that are coming with this project are going to be putting the room back to the way we found it. And as far as the garbage or anything like that, it's all downstairs. So there might be some extra effort on Monday to move the garbage out of the building, but we don't leave the building much differently than the way we found it.
Okay. Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah. Department sponsorships, are they for a specific purpose or just they just used for general purposes?
General purposes.
Anything else?
Love the work you do. Love the music in the park, the art, the support, the conversations, the endless hours that you put in to our community. And that's on, I'm sure that's on your dime because it's over hours.
Yes.
And I talk your ear off. You know, so the work that you put in.
I'm always putting out like
It's-
consultant.
Trust me, all of us, and things you talk, you're always trying to go talk to kids, go talk to kids, she'll connect you. Call her now, Sunday, she'll answer. And we don't want to take advantage, but it's just so accessible, so just tell us to stop when you need us to leave you alone. Thank you.
Now would be a good time.
All right, thanks, Kit.
Thanks.
The next item, information technology. As if we had any. Who needs this page? Every time. Page 56 in the book. Alright. What's your big story?
Story pretty status quo, except for one addition in service contract, which is GPS for all city CSCA vehicles.
Okay. That's all.
City.
KPD and KFD already have them, all the CSCA vehicles are being added now.
So
It was actually a 2025 project, that was in capital, that's moving into service contract next year.
Is that line 471 then?
Yes.
But we must already started that last year. And we're actually went down a little bit.
And there's a removal of Sentinel-1 antivirus, we're moving to CrowdStrike in our state program. We're changing up a little bit right now.
Right?
The GPS in city vehicles, is that for navigation purposes or for letting you know where the vehicles are?
And from my point, from IT, I don't care. It's small. I think it's more for, one, we're working on snow plows to get a map for dispatchers internally and ultimately for public. That is a big piece of it the mayor wants to get forward. So you know when a plow came to your neighborhood in the last couple hours or whatever. Still working on those pieces. Not sure if we'll make it to this winter or not, but we're hoping to. Then obviously asset tracking. We're keeping track of fuel management and stuff like that too. The other departments, there are multiple departments involved, but I can speak to those much better.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a way that you can surreptitiously replace our website?
That is also in the works. Summer is probably more further along than I am at the moment. She's been deleting a lot of the old content, but we are very close. We have a draft one that we can actually peek at now, so.
Not just content, it's usability.
The whole thing is going to a whole new platform. Like the existing data is still being brought forward to under a new look and a feel and different platform.
Because it would be nice for us to at least enter the 20th century.
Ready's not leaving the council.
The existing one is very old. That is very close.
Okay, other questions, Kyle?
There's contract.
Yep.
What's under that?
A lot of stuff. I think the whole, say all budget. Sure, that's right.
Is it like all software for the city?
Yeah, so pretty much anything that involves multiple departments all lands in my budget. If it's a single department that lands in their own, so it's. But yeah, anything that's multiple department ends up in my budget.
Mhm. Before legal? Yes. And this line, postage, freight, and express is rising 1,030%, $0 to $100.
Sorry, which one?
This line, postage, freight, and expense. What do you use that for?
No, just because, yeah, it's zero, just to mail a package here and there, don't understand like that. It's also coming out of there, it's the plane somewhere else, but there's nothing there, it's hard to, short it there.
That's the emergency notification system.
That is the, was Swift 911, now moved to code red 24 for snow emergencies and stuff to call the city residents. Call or text for Facebook, yeah.
Oh.
It does like 22,000 phone calls in 3 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
Hmm. On the telephone,
Yep.
18,500. Are those, that's cell phone?
No, cell phones, the only cell phones that are in my budget, get certain departments in there, are just the IT one and the service contract.
Right.
That is the city phones for everybody.
Oh,
So that's the phones at City Hall that
Right.
everybody dials out of, and all other city buildings. Either indoor, and all those lines are all there.
So I'm not asking to spend any money on this, but I'm just asking, I'm just bringing up, I think the sound still in, council chambers is difficult.
Yeah.
You people, yeah, so I just, that's what, if there's anything that can be done, people just can't hear when they're in.
I mean, I can ask again. So one of the issues is we wanted to have speakers come from the top down, and I couldn't find anybody willing to do any work up there through the attic to change any of the wiring. Nobody felt comfortable on that scaffold. That's how the old system used to shoot straight down.
Okay.
But I mean, you can certainly ask. I don't know what it comes out of money.
So in the spring, we were at the Court of Appeals, and I have to say it was a big old room, not as quite as large as council chambers, but the sound was just impeccable in there.
Yeah.
And hearing, just we could find out maybe what. I know, just even
Yeah.
knowing what it is.
The students are up there working on the lunettes. Can't you use that?
I'm sure speaker. Well, the wire in the attic's been changed also. That's
Yeah, but I mean, they're kids. They
you want to turn the call in there. That's
Yeah.
It definitely did help when we started moving the podium back. Remember when we touched?
So
And
the
I
worst.
feel like the last couple of times we haven't had the placement of that because we never have problems hearing necessarily unless they're not using a microphone. It's not going to the
Right, it's the
back
audience,
of the room. Yeah, so if the podium is more centered in the room, that definitely made a difference, but it's also just people don't know how to use a microphone.
You mean from you hearing them?
I mean, I've never really had any issue hearing people, even when the mic is not on. That's why sometimes somebody has to text me to say the microphone's not on, because I could hear just fine.
Oh, because you're getting the speaker from their voice, not the speaker.
Yeah, so I've never had a problem hearing anybody from where I'm sitting, but I know people, because the speaker's back is to them. And so when we moved it to the center, it kind of brought the sound back a little bit. I feel like the last few times the podium is inching a little closer, so it could be something that saying out loud so people can help
When
me.
they initially did it, they talked about ripping carpet up for the hearing aid part too, and when doing so, you should put like a loop under the carpet under certain select seats, putting some box speakers along the back behind the door or whatever, but there's more money there, a lot more money.
Yeah, and people don't use the microphone. It doesn't matter.
Really? I mean, I can ask you for, it's a Hudson Valley Audio Video Company that set up as it is and, kind of leaps and bounds from where we came from somewhat. But comes down to how much money you want to spend. So. But I don't, like those speakers are rated, so they're linear where they are now. Depending where you sit in the audience, you're only supposed to be able to hear like one of them. The worst spot in that room because of the way they're set up, it's like the center.
The center of it.
Yeah.
Anything else regarding IT?
How the hackers been? You know
Always
what?
trying to- that's- Never stop.
Two.
So revenue, Kingston Water Department, how do we get revenue?
So because we support all departments, but Kingston Water is their own separate budget. So even like wastewater now, part of some of our salary and some other items in the service contract line are separated into wastewater. We have an IT agreement with both KLDC and the water department specifically to assist them. That way we get someone from them instead of hiring their own person to work.
Anything else? All right. Thanks for keeping us connected. Good. All right, we move to wealth and helmets. 50.
And City Hall is not tonight, it's being promised for it too.
Yeah.
Good.
I know. What's in the
I didn't by mistake.
Yeah.
All right, Emily, what's the big story in your department?
All right, everyone. Okay.
50.
I would love to remind everyone that the Department of Health and Wellness has two major programs. The Live Well City Health Commission and the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities New York State Department of Health grant. My budget is almost fully grant funded. There's about 28% of my fringe, benefits that is not reimbursed by the state grant. But for the most part, it's all grant funded. Both programs, the short way to say it is that they both work on the social determinants of health. So creating access to all the resources that make our residents healthy. And I can talk about those programs further if you'd like, or I can dive into the budget.
Well, let's go to the budget first. Anybody have any questions or comments there? I see this federal assistance dropped off precipitously. So what did we lose there?
So that's our Creating Healthy Schools and Communities grant that ends May 31st. It sunsets. It was a 5-year, $1 million grant that it was set to end, and it will.
That was my question. When is it going to end?
May 31st,
Oh,
2026. So we are in the last year of it. And you'll also see that our staff has changed. So my colleague, Kristen Kessler, who has been in these meetings before, well, I'm very pleased to say that she's got a new position at the county. She's the director of community health. So she's doing the same great work, but now for the county. But because the grant is sunsetting, that position is not being refilled. So I've taken on both ending the grant that she was leading and then managing the Live Well Kingston work that we were already doing.
Answer my question.
Your contract expenses increases from your requested. Can you explain that?
I believe that that was a conversation recognizing that the grant is ending and we would like to spend as much of it as we can. Predominantly, that subcontract is our two subcontractors, Family Woodstock and Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County. Family Woodstock does early childcare, nutrition, and physical activity supports, and Cornell Cooperative Extensions does wellness committees for the school district, also physical activity and nutrition supports for the school district.
Other questions on the budget? So I'm just curious, why is the schools program with the city and not with the schools?
Because it's more than just the schools. So it's the community and the schools.
Okay.
the way that the grant was organized for this round was that we subcontracted with Cornell Cooperative Extension to do the schools. Family Woodstock did the early childcare, as I mentioned, and then the community aspect lived in my department. So Kristen Kessler did the food nutrition programs, mostly for our food pantries. And then I did the physical activity, which is mostly active transportation. So walking and biking in our community. And the idea is that if we build our communities to be easily walkable and bikeable, people will be healthier.
So what will you be working on once this grant ends?
Great question. Well, my position started as being the Live Kingston coordinator, so I'll absolutely go back to supporting Live in every way that I can. We've applied for a new grant, which I'm really hopeful that we'll get, which is for a shareable bike system for the city of Kingston. It's from NYSERDA. That would be a multi-million-dollar, I should say, I think it's over $1 million grant. If we received it, it would be a multi-year project. I'm very hopeful that we get it.
And what about the food access? Is that still?
The food systems?
Yes, yes.
Thank you for asking.
Okay.
December 3rd, 6 p.m. will be our public meeting. We'll be publishing our final draft plan and then have a 30-day comment period. We're working on the press release right now, so hopefully we'll this week.
Which date did you say?
December 3rd, 6 p.m.
Okay. What time?
6.
Okay.
So, all of your programs combined, how many unduplicated, like participants are involved?
I don't have that number in front of me, but Live Well Kingston is the health commission. Then it works, as I mentioned, with social determinants of health, which is so broad. We've broken that into subcommittees called focus teams. Each focus team has its own sort of monthly meeting, and I have somewhere between 5 and 20 typical participants. So I like to think of my work as a lot of community outreach, a lot of community building that I do within each group and pocket. If you are interested, I can try to do a count for you and send that to you tomorrow. No.
Anything else? Currently. You did good work, Ellen. Thank you.
May I, we don't have to talk about it now, but I have a handout for you about Live Well Kingston that you can take home. And if you have any questions that I guess let me know.
All right.
Oh, we don't get any of this.
Because you're to the right.
Are there any actions?
Yeah.
We didn't give one for Ruth, they like.
They did. Anybody mind?
So, fire tech, how's your next? And then after that, engineering. After engineering, engineering. Where the money is. That's the Asian fire tech. Fire tech, let's get it, say 52. 52. No, that's, no, sorry, 53. 53. Just across the street.
What is?
Yeah, I managed both 52 and 53.
I think 52 is part of it.
So 52 is the line, is the budget line for tax acquired property that we acquired for back taxing.
Oh, gosh.
And so that includes some expenses, namely it's the school tax, which we sometimes have to pay on properties we acquire. And then also, there's also a materials line item that the carpenter uses for boarding houses, keypads, things you would expect for big homes. So that is within my purview because I now also manage the foreclosure process and also all the properties that we could acquire from that process.
Project, does that include costs of like DPW to mow the lawn, or is that from DPW? So there's a mix of different departments
not.
that have the track or.
Yeah, It doesn't include mowing.
Okay, but it doesn't include the salary of the carpenter, it's just
Exactly.
all the,
Just
the
materials.
wood,
Exactly.
wood nails.
That's
Okay.
right.
We're not gonna sell any property this year?
Yeah, so you see there is a 1051. There is an estimate that we would make 50, quote unquote, make $50,000 from the sale of tax foreclosed properties. However, according to state law,
Right.
we cannot make money on the sale of these properties.
Right.
Well,
So that's the change, I see, yeah.
the only thing that's going back to the coffers is whatever the lien amount was.
Mhm.
We took the property for. Everything else goes back to the court for 3 years. And we could get it back in 3
At the end of
years.
3 years.
Yes.
They can't find another.
If there's any surplus between the back tax amount and the actual price at auction, sales price at auction.
But can you recover any of, if you're tracking the materials for the carpenter, any of the DPW removing trash, mowing lawns? If we're tracking that, we're able to recover
Yeah.
that.
To a certain extent, however, state law also limits the amount that we can charge for
Right.
those items. So in the fee schedule, there is a line item. It's called basically the charge that we give to purchasers that are buying tax foreclosed property. And right now it's set for, I believe it's 1,500. And so that's the revenue that we secure this.
And then, so this is part of Sarah Passey's question. She asked why it went from 301,000 to 0. But that's basically because of Tyler V. Hannafin, right? That's,
Yeah, so actually it's because we are selling a property this year. It'll actually probably be early next year, but it'll be for this year's budget. We are selling a property that actually wasn't tax foreclosure.
and that's the 300.
So abandoned property is different?
Abandoned properties are different. Yes, we have more flexibility.
Is that going through the disposition policy?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you show the difference between when you acquire a property and that amount that has to be returned back to the
Mhm.
Original owner under Headipin?
Yep. So it's whatever let's say the property owes us $30,000. And the property sells at auction for 50,000.
Right.
So there's the $30,000 sales price. We can add potentially some expenses as well to that we can prove. So let's say in total, the all-in is like 32,000. But the 18,000, that difference between 32 and 50 goes back to the court. And we submit a accounting itemization.
It's held off for 3 years.
Exactly.
So is there any way to?
It's a question for
reflect
John.
a pro rata?
Yeah, that's a question for John. I mean, at any time that surplus could potentially be claimed by the prior owner. So it's not necessarily guaranteed. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But their estate or anybody else.
So so potentially 3 years from now, since it was just put into place, we would see this revenue line reflect
Right.
whatever that
The property, right,
$18,000.
so if the property is sold next March.
Right.
Then 3 years, 2029, March 2029, potentially some of that 18,000, let's say an example,
Right.
we return back to Smiths.
I'm sure I asked this when we were going over the disposition policy, but that $18,000 that we get back in 3 years, do we get the interest on that?
Sadly, no. No, we do not.
No, the court keeps
Is it really?
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
So I know last year, you had a consultant and then attorneys like working on all this and stuff, so that some of those numbers seem to be going down, but court costs are going up in the budget.
Yeah.
So can you explain what's gonna be happening this year?
Yeah, so there was a big backlog that we are going through this year for the interim. And so I think our costs are high this year. It might even be higher than stated. But then next year, right, because it's a normal, quote unquote, normal year. So hopefully there's just like a dozen, a dozen properties that might be up for foreclosure. So the legal costs hopefully will go down.
Okay.
So that's stated in the budget. And then, yeah, I do think some of the other fees, like publication fees, court fees, filing fees, those are surprisingly high. And so that's, I think, better reflected in the budget than actually all that.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
You requested $23,811 for service contracts. That was not, put in the recommended budget. Could you speak to what you were seeking?
Yeah, so that's actually our short-term rental software. Which pays, DevOS, which does pay for itself and some. However, it was moved to the building department. Budget.
So you will still have your STR software.
Yes.
And your regular pay is staying the same as
Yes,
before?
sir.
Any other questions?
Are there any new initiatives you're looking to work on this year outside of what?
Everything that's been discussed. But I think we're continuing to look at city-owned property. And so right now we have, which month we're on the 25 full court RPI, which is very exciting. So we're making decisions soon. And then hopefully we'll have 2 or 3 more opportunities soon.
And you're still just a one-man operation?
One day.
But you're not living on an island, right?
Yeah.
Anything else? Going? Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I think the one thing I'll just mention is, we have the discussion with legal services, the housing committee meeting, I think that was in September, where they requested budget from the city of Kingston, not in line of budget, so sort of it.
Is that going to be discussed somewhere else, or is it just?
I think now would be the time.
So I know that the mayor has thought about doing a short-term rental tax, and I was hoping that could be used to fund ongoing services.
I think that's a good idea. I'm not sure how much, I think the revenue from the short-term rental tax.
100,000.
Yeah, with at most 100K.
Yeah,
So
We can raise it. So that's on the controllers.
yes, that might be.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great.
Thank you.
All right. Sure. All right, so we've got engineering. And that'll be after that, grants management and communication. Hello. How are the city's engines doing?
Well, inspiring on it. That's it.
Excellent. Any major change in the new department?
We have one grade 4 position that we're looking to upgrade to grade 5. That's most of the budget variance there. Just to match the qualifications of what we need from that position. Got some savings thanks to the state budget. The tuition line that we needed last year is now no longer needed there's a new program in the state budget to cover STEM related STEM classes for lifelong learners, for older students. So those are the biggest changes.
But then you're getting some help now from community development, right?
Right. One of the positions, well, it was always at 50%.
So let's see.
I think so that admin assistant was 50% engineering and 50% community development. The proposal for next year is still 50% engineering, but 25% the sewer budget, which basically all of my staff have some component of their budget of their pay come from sewer.
Okay.
And then the remaining 25% is still in community development.
All right, so that's the admin assistant.
Right.
Any other questions here for Michael?
Yeah, I remember last year we had a pretty significant conversation about equipment,
Sure.
and I see that that's going from 1,500 to 1,000 maintenance of equipment.
Maintenance of equipment. Yeah.
Is that, or do you not need that much?
It's highly variable. I mean, one thing we have is the sewer camera, and you know, in some years it needs major repair or part or new like wheels. But you know, it's just sort of adds them for a lot of times.
Okay.
We have, you know, also a large format plotter that, knock on wood, has been reliable, but if you have to call a tech for that, you know, it's probably 800 to get them to show up. So we need something there.
Okay.
Is it possible to get a list of just projects for next year that are planned out that?
Sure. I mean, I can tell you the high level right now. I mean, I think probably the biggest one that's going to take most of our time is Flatbush and Foxhole Sewer. It's going to be a very significant project, getting ready for the streetscape following that. We have significant work to do to do the bike plan removal early next year. We do have also our next in round of ADA curb ramps around the city planned for next year. Finally, my department's been heavily involved in the new fire station, which is planned for next year. And I'm sure there's a number of other smaller but also important projects. I can't think of immediately, but it's a very busy time for us.
Michael, Andrew.
Approximately how many ADA curb cuts are you anticipating being able to?
I'm going to say it's 60 to 80.
Okay. So sort of going off Michelle's, and this isn't necessarily directed at you, or I don't know if it's you, if it's Ed, if it's the mayor, if it's John, but it would be nice to get a 5-year capital plan program about what we foresee as like the next 5 years projects. You know, the county, it's in the county charter that they have to do it. I think it's even in our charter. And you know, our capital plan was one sheet of vehicles when, you know, we know 4 plans coming up already. Like, it would be nice to have that as an actual program that we can examine every year and see how far along we are. I think it would make better budgeting.
I mean, so many of our projects are grant funding, so that what Roseanne's office does, I mean, that's not everything, but that is probably a good start of looking to see it. But yeah, that would be nice, so that we, throughout the year, we know what we're working towards.
Good.
I do have, I mean, that's just the.
And just to add another thing, like for example, the ADA curb ramps are mainly funded through the CHIPS funding. So they're never in the city budget to begin with.
But it's still a capital project.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it does affect, you know, my workload especially. And then we do have, you know, some of the other projects we're working on are the wastewater treatment plant. I have developed for internal use, so we would want to review it with the comptroller's office and so on, 5-year plan for the wastewater treatment plant specifically, because it has so many, you know, moving parts that wear out, and we can kind of plan, okay, this boiler is now 22 years old, and it should be done in the next 3 to 4 years. So it's on that list.
So my question actually has to do with the going from grade 4 to grade 5.
Yep.
Now, is that, I mean, because a lot of times in terms of employees and staff, we don't really have a choice. Is this contractual, this move, or is this a recommend?
It's something I'm recommending based on, what, you know, the department's needs are and, there is an incumbent and he'd have to compete for it, but, you know, what his qualifications are, what would be useful to the department. You know, really does reflect some of the work he's already doing.
Thank you.
So that's the engineering aid position we're in and into the capital projects assistant?
Well, I think the title is project manager, or well, okay, it's listed there. Okay, same. It's a grade 5. Yeah. The PM or capital project assistant is a grade 5. Yep.
Okay.
And it's success and.
Yep.
List and.
Correct. Yep. And there's qualifications. Yep. So. Yes.
Is your department at all involved with the library?
Typically, no.
No, okay. The library, the building of the library, the old library.
Yeah, we weren't.
Or not, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so I had brought this up and then I will speak with the mayor later tonight for this school speed zone camera
Yes.
pilot. So thank you for all your work in getting that set up. I see signs going on.
Yes.
That's great. I'm hoping that we can then take revenue from that program and put it towards other areas of school safety or, traffic calming. So.
Yeah, I believe the mayor has a planned lockbox where those would go to be dedicated funds for those kinds of things.
I did send you the.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to, sounds like you get.
Yeah, no, but I just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page about that. Thank you.
Thanks.
And is there any change in salaries with the?
Just the grade 4 to grade 5. Other than that, no changes.
But your status is covered by a collective bargaining agreement. It's going to be negotiated.
Correct.
Staff.
I mean, I think this whole document was prepared using
Right.
last year's numbers, right?
And you'll be at the upcoming Foxball
I will be.
public session? Okay.
Yes.
You start.
December 9th, December 9th at 5 PM to 7 PM here in council chambers. We'll be holding a public information meeting for the Flatbush and Foxhall streetscape. Probably talk a little bit about the sewer as well, but the streetscape does have some changes, particularly at the Cornell intersection and then at the Flatbush and Foxhall intersection itself that we want to show to the public. That's it's going to be a large project as well.
Yeah, I just want to point out for everybody here that the mayor did just email us the multi-year capital plan 2 minutes ago, so thank you, Mayor. Having an actual dedicated meeting on everything is also.
Anything else? All right, thanks, John.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, we move to grants management, which is page 48 in the book.
The narrative.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. What's the big story in your department?
It works well. We don't really have much of a big story this year. Our budget's very similar to last year, although the ARPA staffing position is ending on December 31st, so there's a reduction there. And we've done a little shifting with Casa and Bailey, who have continued to do work between the comptroller's office and grants management. They two of them have been handling our grant reimbursements. So it's just shifted a little bit because Bailey is doing more work with the comptroller's office because she's now an agency agent. She's doing a little bit less on the grants management side. So those are the major changes. Otherwise, we're very similar expenses.
Question.
So who are we losing? The ARPA position
Is Bill Reynolds.
Other,
will he be repurposed?
No, that it was a temporary, long-term temporary position that was always scheduled to end at the end of this year. So we're anticipating that.
Okay, Michelle.
Just curious how the federal grant situation is looking. If there's less to apply for or about the same.
It's interesting because it is a little bit of a question going forward, but we've actually seen some positive signs. Some of our DOT grants are moving forward, and we were concerned. We are about to execute our contract for the raise award that did get it was stalled for a long time, but it picked up again at the end of the summer. It's in the final stage. And our Reconnecting Communities grant also is a federal DOT. And that's stalled as well, but we just were notified at our first meeting or right, so that's two. So there are positive signs and then a little bit of here and there, we're not quite sure what's going on. There have been a lot of state opportunities. So all in all, this year, we're on par with last year. We're applying for about 35 grants by the end of this year. It's still looking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment, since I've been here, and it's been quite a while. This is one of the most significant changes that I've seen on the council. It's grants management. The amount of money that we bring back is so significant. It's great. What a great change in the last few years.
Yeah, we had a large focus specifically on the grant writing, research, management end as opposed to the project management. We were doing much more project management for a long time. And we repurposed and changed our focus specifically so that Natalie and I are not doing as much project management. That does free up our time to be able to spend on the actual research and writing, so that it really is making a big difference.
You guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
Just to add that what I'm told from grantors is that the city does an outstanding job at getting and administrating grants. So that's to your credit, to John's credit.
Yeah, it is. It's all of us. Natalie and I take the lead, but we work with all of our fellow staff, and it's always working in conjunction with each other.
Unsolicited comments. I
Or when we had the first 5 million, when we sort of established the grants department, it was such a big deal, but it's unbelievable.
We applied for almost 35 this year. We still are waiting to hear on the bulk of them. It takes a long time to hear back. I will be issuing a new report in January. We expect to hear about a lot of awards in December, so I want to hold off until we get those numbers
On
in.
December 25th, you'll hear on December 25th from a guy in a red suit.
Maybe you're not getting early Christmas.
Wait, there's another opinion. It's all listeners. And so in terms of staffing, you're basically back to where you were before ARPA?
Pretty much. I think, well, Bailey came in right around when we were beginning ARPA, and she was spending a tremendous amount of her time on the ARPA paperwork. She was very busy with that. And then once we started closing up the programs, her time on it tapered back. She started taking over the purchasing responsibilities. Brian left. So it's just shifted a bit. But our ARPA paperwork is pretty much finished. We've obligated all the funds and finished the reporting. The quarterly reports need to continue through next year. And then all the money has to be spent down before the end of next year. But we're on track easily to do that.
And you left no money on the table.
No money on the table.
And there's no threat of clawback that you've heard of?
No, so we're always nervous, but I think compared to other communities, Kingston has done a really good job at following the regulations and really making sure that we're doing everything by the book. So, I think a lot of other communities struggle more with that. It hasn't been easy, but
That's very much on top of it. John Tui has really led the group with that.
Great. Anything else? All right, keep bringing in the dough.
Thank you. Great job. Thanks.
All right, we're moving now to communications. Summer. Welcome. And this is page 28. All right. What's the big story in your department? Communicate with us.
We have a $50 difference in my budget from this year, so I figured, basically my newspaper subscriptions went up, but yes. The difference in my budget from this year.
I heard you use the word paper.
Newspaper subscriptions,
Are you getting like bona fide paper or is this an electronic?
electronic, I get, the Daily Freeman and the Something 911 and the Wire.
Great. Good.
I wasn't at the DPW meeting, I didn't know, are we doing mailing? or
We
snow
are,
or
yeah.
anything?
Yeah, they go off this week.
Great, okay,
Yeah, you
thanks, yeah.
should see it really soon.
Were there any changes this year? Or, right, because we would have to go through them.
The only change has been new, as Kyle mentioned, we have a new notification system.
Okay,
So everyone that had previously signed up for, it was Swift 911, then it was Smart 911, and now it's Code Red.
okay.
So everyone's being moved over, but we do have a new portal for sign up, so that's really the only difference.
Okay.
And regular pay in your department is not changing.
Yeah.
Other question? So this website thing, when are we gonna see a new one?
Really soon, I hope. It's definitely underway. It's just taking a long time to move all of the content over. So we've tried to do a really big scrub of getting as much old content off as possible. So we went through that process and now they're moving everything over. But it looks really nice. It's gonna be much more organized. I think everyone's gonna really like it.
And are we gonna change the picture that's on the landing page?
Yes, the girl in the shorts.
Yes.
Gotcha.
You guys know her?
It seems to be the same picture for over a decade.
It does rotate, but it's the same, probably.
Oh, same
before.
set, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, new photos.
From this century?
Yeah, it's gonna. We have some aerial photos. Yeah. I think you're gonna like it.
Will we have a calendar that you could subscribe to?
That I don't know.
That's a good idea.
You're supposed to be able to sign up for this one. It's just you just don't get, like, if a meeting is updated, you don't get like an update. So,
Yeah, it's a snapshot of time.
right. I think so, but I'll have to, that's not a question that we asked. It is gonna be a new calendar. It's gonna be easier to navigate. But subscribing, you'll have to ask. We have a lot more calls with them as we're sorting everything out, so I think it's a good time to
Who's this one?
ask for things. Catalysts.
Okay.
Is there a way to have like a pop-up screen of anything like that's
Mhm.
like, because the school district does it, like the latest thing?
Yes, we can do a pop-up, like if we have a snow emergency, we can use the banner and we can also have a pop-up.
So Michael distributed, I don't know how widely, a sort of an interactive map of the wards so that so what I'm proposing is if we had something like that where the constituent could say, okay, this is my address, what ward am I in? I think that would be outstanding if we could incorporate something like that.
I'll have to see.
Well,
I know we have.
I mean, I just
some
made that on
map
Google Maps.
You just
You
make
can make,
one.
yeah, you can, anybody can make a map on Google Maps. That's what I did.
Right.
We have one that has all the streets listed, I think.
There's one from the Board of Elections, but you can go on
Right,
Google
right.
and create your own layer
Yeah.
map.
Right.
That
Where you can
overlays
put your
anything you-
address in,
yeah,
that would be
We
interesting.
will have some interesting map capabilities, so there's a lot of room for doing some new
Right.
things that'll be helpful.
Does it come up on the property search for the building department, maybe?
Like, what
Board, yeah.
No, but who would do that? As constituent, if you're looking to find your older person, be so much easier just to put your address in, especially since the ward map changed over the last couple of years.
We have the word map on the website, but you just have to like zoom in.
Or to.
Yeah, it's
from the BOA.
it's really, it's not.
And even
It's hard
I've
to
had at least 2 calls in the last year, people saying, oh, you're involved.
Right.
No, I'm not.
Oh, really?
Right.
So the people here in City Hall even aren't always clear about where the boundaries are. Because I mean, they called and they said, I've talked to in City Hall, said you're my own.
That's why I ran for president, so we have to figure it out.
And will we have our resolutions be able to be uploaded onto the website?
In a way that they're not now, or
Like you can't, like, here, let me always be comparing us to Ulster County. But if you go to the Ulster County Legislature's website, you can search every resolution since probably since the charter became a charter form of government.
that's not something we've specifically talked about yet, but
Because this is something that Port Council has told us is sort of deficient, is the ability to search resolutions passed. So you can see from November 25th or November 18th, and you can go all the way back, I guess, to 2014 as far as it goes, and you can see every iteration of every resolution and how it was voted on. That was something that was done by in partnership both with the legislative office, but as well as their contractor.
okay, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, I think we would definitely appreciate being, and the public would be able to appreciate being able to actually search resolutions, but that is something that
And has that
our
been-
Port Council has brought to our
Because you
attention.
kind of have to have knowledge of,
Right.
okay, it was around this time, so let's go and check these 3 months, see if we could find it.
And they're not all there.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's something we can start doing going forward. I don't know about how we would go back and, that would be a big.
Interject, we're working on a grant. For first quarter to try to digitize, and this is an issue that we're kind of,
Oh, good.
we have to get about.
Okay.
So, just City Squared property lookup does have the wards on it. Like, that's at the building department. This is where you can just look up property.
Right, but it would be easier to go to the city website and just put in your address at this point. I mean,
yeah.
Well, this is on the city website, so there's just a way to highlight that if you're.
It's gonna be one of our, so we're gonna have like a couple of drop down menus that we have now, and then there's gonna be some featured content, sort of like how Engage Kingston looks with the projects. So one of those will be building safety, one of those will be parks and recs, and we'll have some different content there. So that's gonna be one of them that'll kind of redirect you to that site.
Yeah, so like even in City Square, like if you don't put the address in, you could just go touch the property. And it'll pop open and you can say open property and property details. That's it right in there.
Okay. But yeah, I'm sure that's something we can work with the website team to do.
I'm also looking at the website right now to look at the Common Council resolutions, and I'm noticing that my term is up a couple months, 6 weeks. But it's not up. You'll see it, guys. So that may need to be changed because mine's a 4-year term. When will be 2027? Yeah. Anyway, did you change it on the website or is it
What page is that on?
on the Common Council? like common council members.
That's not my page, but I can go on and fix it for you.
But, and Drew's is wrong too, but he's leaving he actually is leaving in 6 months, but.
What? No.
Or six, sorry.
My God. We have a page. Describing the alderman's responsibilities.
No, not really.
No, not really. We have a page for the council that has your, like,
Yeah, I know.
committee assignments and that type of thing. But
We created something that everyone should have access to. That's the
Yes.
first start. That brought up. It's a great idea. It was very informative.
I could see if we could get that. It's a hands book that I
okay.
composed myself. They'll be sending to Bruce and Mike over there real soon, but yeah, my goal was to get it so the public could also see it because it does.
It'd be very
It'll,
helpful.
yeah, so let me write myself a note. Okay. I can do that. It may not be real soon, but I'll do my best.
If we put something on now, it may not make the transfer over since all of that's happening. So
Okay.
just,
So,
I'm gonna keep up with, what needs to go on the new site. So there's no rush.
I appreciate
That's
that
fun.
very much.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Summer.
Thank you for your time.
All right, next we have mayor. After that, we've got the assessor. And then court council after that. Then it's the clerk. Comptroller.
Are you taking over your questions?
I can take it from my, I think I'm gonna go to the other side of the room, so that I'm facing the back of everybody.
You can also switch over if you want to pull up the chair on this side.
Oh,
Okay, Brady. Turn it around.
oh, you've been speaking down this, just a tad.
Let's get answers either. First three questions. I think the big chairs.
This is page 58.
It's when I do your own.
Here, guy.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay, I think this is available in the picture.
You ready?
Okay.
All right. Steve, what's the big story in your office?
Yeah, they're really from year over year, there was a very large change in the specific area. We moved some postage money around, we moved some minor office equipment lines around, but in the end, I think it's all about came out to be about the same.
Question? Very much.
Your travel reimbursement, are you driving more?
It's just technically, if you do drive, you're not supposed to take it out of the dues and seminars fee,
Oh, okay.
which is what we used to sort of do, and so now we try to break it out into a specific travel.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Most of your direct reports don't have any changes.
Not yet.
Right.
And so what we can do is, yeah, so we, for all of CSEA, which the members of the management team also follow, CSEA is out of contracts as of December 31st. And so they will then, that's why 2025's budget, current budget and the proposed 2026 budget does not show any salary changes. So we approximated what we believe will be the salary increases for all management, as well as CSEA, and that money is now in contingency. So we budgeted over $1 million for CSEA, police, and fire, who will all be out of contract next year. And so we do expect they will all get raises, probably around cost of living increases. And so that money is already been budgeted so that when that ratification comes before the council, the money will be in the budget. You'll just have to transfer them into the lines. But we did not pre it in the lines, but the money is in.
Yes, that was the thing.
So those are basically then they'll probably be around 2%, 2.5%, something, which is basically once was cost of living increase.
Yeah, so we basically budgeted about 2.5% for everyone.
And is that, is there's a $5,000 increase for your office?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, so
in
we did,
lieu of,
yes, so we did a 2.5% cost of living increase for 25, which we didn't get, which was not included in the 2025 budget, and then a 2.5% cost of living increase for 26.
okay, other questions? No big changes. Anything else?
Less furniture.
Yes, furniture, but I'm trying to make it do, next year.
Sit on the floor. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
We didn't all, but probably get one more year. And I'm sorry that I didn't send a capital plan. I thought I did. And then when I heard you, I was like, wait, you guys have the capital plan? And then I looked at my email and John, for his sake, he sent it to me on this October 16th and it's like, make sure you send this to the council. I was like, sure, John, I will. And so it's there if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right.
All right.
You have a proxy.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you for making yourself available.
Yeah.
Good morning.
No, that was fun. Yeah, thank you.
Now the assessor, page 17. Dan Baker, who has clearly spent lots of money on revising the decor in his office.
Nice.
New drapes. Now you can take a nap in there.
Yep. Just gonna kick off the shoes and fall over.
All right. Any questions for Dan?
What page?
Assessor's page 17. Is there anything big in there, Dan, that you'd like to mention or discuss?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think fairly self-explanatory. 4 full-time staff, including myself. We have a consultants line, as you know, to be able to react towards assessment complaints, professional services. And I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, good, Sean.
Hi, Dan, thanks. So I always ask the same questions. How are we doing keeping up with assessments for closed, certificates of occupancy, new construction, things like that?
So currently we have a process where we can connect with the building department software. My data collector, weekly or bi-monthly will download those permits and certificate of occupancies. We'll match those up with existing permits and see what has closed. We'll keep an eye on open permits to see what new construction we have. So we have a process in place to do our best job to do that. If that's what you're asking.
Yes, yeah. It's got busy, so we're probably seeing more revenue.
It is it is busy, where it gets a little, I wouldn't say complex, but sometimes a little confusing is when you have those leftover permits from years past, and then you have another, anywhere somewhere around 3,000 new permits. Sure, the building department has told you how many they have, and we're looking at those as well. And so some of them stick around, and we have to keep track of those. But that's what we do in the office. We have a database of those, and we're continually checking on those and trying to keep up with those ones that are especially closed out and the ones that are open and have new construction, additions, garages, and etc.
But you feel like your staffing is okay to handle everything?
I think it is at the current level. Yeah, I think anything less, I think we'd have, especially with building permits, we would definitely have some issues. But currently, I am very satisfied with the staffing level that the city has supported me with.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Good.
What is temporary status change? Yeah, what, I don't know. That's,
So if under our current agreement, the CSCA, I have a deputy, and the deputy assessor acts in my place if I'm out. And so in that contract, it's called a status change, and that's a pay, premium pay that the deputy would receive in my absence.
Anything else? All right, hearing nothing else, say thank you, Dan. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right. Next, we go to Corporate Counsel, page 44 in the book. Correction. Hello, Barbara.
Hi, how's everyone?
Hi.
We're exhilarated.
Great.
What's the big news in your budget here?
Big news is kind of subjective. I think the broader story is that, particularly last year, I continued to handle in-house all major litigation. And in doing that, keep the consultant line extraordinarily low, particularly given the amount of appellate work. Some of that unfortunately comes at the cost of being able to do some of the non-litigation work. But in any event, from a budget perspective, it's actually kept the budget very low.
Okay. Questions, comments? Mike?
So you requested $200,000 in consultants and were only awarded 125. How do you feel that the 125 will affect your department as opposed to the 200?
I am hopeful that with some, in the greater scheme of things, relatively minor adjustments for one of the full-time lines, that hopefully I'll be able to maintain some current staffing, and that would help to reduce the need for the level of outside counsel support that I had initially anticipated.
And we're keeping the two positions, right? The ones that are being vacated by Bill and Matt.
So if we're going to maybe talk individually about specific employees and lines, that is a conversation we should have.
Just the positions. I'm just asking about the positions.
Yeah, but in terms of, the change that I had anticipated with respect to both of those positions, there may be an opportunity to not see them both as vacant positions.
Okay. Right. Sarah?
Has there been any thought about, I know that your office is besieged with FOIL requests. Has there been any thought to using some of the budget to hire paralegals or other sort of staff who potentially would earn less, who might be able to do the research that an attorney is not necessarily required to do?
So, I mean, I definitely think there's space for a legal assistant. I mean, from civil service perspective, a legal assistant is different from a paralegal, but some non-attorney assistants, I think you mean. There is
Yes.
space for that, but unfortunately, you know, the main issue with FOIL, there could be some space for that. But I think, as you know, the most recent FOIL litigation sort of points out, it's not an issue that can necessarily be avoided through paralegal help.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Is there going to be any kind of tracking software or anything like that that we can use for the foils? I know that Matt had spoken about that possibility.
We have software. The question, I think what you're talking about is, you know, there are some outside companies that handle FOIL for municipalities, but I don't know that, given what we face, that's even possible. And I don't see a space for that at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Barbara, along the same lines as my request, could you also talk about the court and witness fees that you requested an increase from 12,500 to 25,000, but the mayor is recommending 20,000. Could you just speak to where you see that, or do you just sort of explain that line for me?
Why the recommended is changed from I mean, part of this is a game of prediction about how much lawfare we're going to experience and how many matters I may need to and how I might need to litigate particular matters.
So did we go over are we over the 1250 already for 2025?
You know what, I wasn't prepared to answer that, so I don't want to misspeak. Given the material because I'm not in the office, I don't want to misspeak, but I can get that information to you when I'm back at my desk. I believe the answer is no, but I'm not sure.
Okay, but you believe that 20,000 is a comfortable number for your department?
It's comfortable enough at the moment. Going into more detail is sort of tricky, but that said, you know, there are some going into more detail is a little tricky. But it is an active prediction about what we have to litigate and how I'll have to oversee that. There may be some other matters that, you know, as I've expressed to the council before, certain cases, when you look at them, you don't take or you handle them differently depending on the likelihood of success. So there's some times when I filed notices of appeal thinking that I might proceed in one way, and you know, you have to do a cost benefit analysis about what makes the most sense.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? There.
I have just a question about the regular pay increase. It's from 2025 to 2026. I know the mayor was just here and he was talking about, you know, the general increases, their cost of living increases that get put into regular pay lines.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what's going on here or no?
So I think we're not just looking at the amount that's like the CSEA increases, particularly, as I said a few minutes ago, with some possible adjustments to one of the projected vacancies. It may not be vacant, so that's not just a CSEA issue, but sort of going back, bigger picture, there across the board, government attorneys, positions are not being filled because of the extremely low salary, and we are lower than most. One of the declared vacancies, I can say, is how can I put it without going into too much detail? We're about $20,000 below what a person with comparable skills would make even in Ulster County doing a much easier job. So I'll just leave that there.
Thank you.
Mike?
What positions in your office are CSEA? Assistant court counsels, is that a CSEA position?
No,
Oh, so it's just the confidential secretary?
correct.
That's not management confidential?
Right, it is management confidential, but the increase is governed strictly by the increase that is given to CSEA. I thought you were asking from a numbers perspective.
Okay.
All of them get the CSEA, the management confidential board.
Okay.
I haven't actually, but the assistants do. So like last year I did not get a raise. And I don't take vacation by and large. And I don't get vacation rollover.
Anything else? Anything else for Corporation Counsel? Seeing nothing else? All right, thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we move to the city clerk's office. This is page 19 and following. Elissa,
Hi.
what's the big story in your department?
Not really any big stories. I do want to mention, Michael, you mentioned not being able to find the resolutions on the website, and I don't know if you're looking in the right place, but they are posted going back to 2011.
Oh, okay.
So if you were to go to the calendar where we have the meetings posted, right above the top, there's a spot that says make your choose from below. If you click on Common Council, and then there'll be another drop box. You click on resolutions, and then another drop box. It gives years. I understand Barbara's concern with searchability. We tried to change that this past year by putting the entire title of a resolution in for the search, and it created a little bit of a glitch with our software, and IT's been trying to work out that kink. So we're at a little bit of a standstill. So all of 25 are not on the website, but everything going back to 2011 to 2024. And I think for 2025, we are just January, April, and then we had the issue.
All right. Other questions? Joe?
So are we building any kind of budget for moving forward to get things digitized, or are we just waiting to see what we get for grants, or?
Right now, they're waiting to see with the new website what that can handle. And then we'll have to take it from there.
Okay, but as far as personnel to do any work?
No, I know that Bill Reynolds had taken on the, he had sent out a questionnaire to all the department heads to really get a number for what kind of digitizing each department would need. And then I haven't heard much after that. I know Grants is trying to find something, and then possibly a temporary staff member, or I'm not really sure of who would do that.
Okay, thank you.
This line miscellaneous got much more miscellaneous, went from $200,000 to $1,300,000.
That's
So I
a
think-
John Tui question, because that would not be me.
Is this
John Dewey, are you still there?
You got a layer raised line.
I don't see John.
No, I think he logged off.
Okay. Are you still thinking questions?
I am, but he was doing.
He was downstairs. I walked in with him.
But he's not here.
Yeah.
Maybe he's walking up.
Yeah, I can write it down in case we don't. So what's the question? Oh, the $1 million.
Yeah.
The $1 million question. Yeah.
Talk about that.
Maybe
in
just talk about how
salaries.
much money stashed for the agreements that are coming up. I
Right.
suspect this is where it's.
No, he said.
That's contingent.
Yeah, so that's not the. This is not the answer to the $1 million question.
Let's not use the word, let's not use the word stash.
Stash.
I will reach out if he doesn't come up here. And let you know.
All right, any other questions, Michael?
Yeah, your pay line decreases by 52,000. Are you losing a position?
Yes, so my bilingual clerk is being moved down to the building department. And so we will be losing that position. Currently, the person at the door is bilingual. Carlos, who was our daytime cleaner, is now full-time. When the previous staff member retired, Carlos took that position. So he is being trained currently to handle all the municipal IDs. And
Okay.
you know, we're all trying to do more with less, and unfortunately, I'll be losing Andy.
Well, that, just to piggyback off of that, so if somebody, a Spanish speaker comes into your department, will they know, or I guess would Carlos know to go up to your department? Is like that is there flexibility so that there can be some translation? There?
Yeah.
So that'll be the plan.
Yes, so
Okay.
currently, yeah, he comes upstairs. We get a lot of people who need assistance, particularly with a dog license or a marriage license, and Carlos will just walk upstairs with them.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael and Sarah.
Line 471 service contracts, you requested 36,679, but the recommended is 46,679. Could you explain the $10,000 increase that you didn't ask for?
So I think that's based on the contracts for we now have 20 Broadway fully staffed. And last year, a lot of the expenses were paid for through ARPA, and that funding is no longer available.
Okay, so it's just the maintenance of 20 Broadway?
Yes,
Okay.
that would be the addition. And I think a couple of the contracts have gone up, the fees have gone up slightly. You'll see an increase on like cleaning supplies, all that is because of 20 Broadway. My overtime line, I think it's either 2,000 or 1,000. No one in my office gets overtime. We don't have it available. If Kwame does a meeting, he will take comp time. The overtime is my nighttime cleaner cleans. He'll go down, he cleans 20 Broadway and he cleans the building department. And it's just, he can't get everything done in 3.5 hours. So he does have overtime for that.
Okay, and also under contracted expenses in City Hall building maintenance, you requested for minor office equipment and furniture $2,500, and you haven't. It was not included in the recommended budget. Can you explain what you wanted there?
I know we have some. Which one is this? Minor office and furniture.
Minor office equipment. That's line 476.
On page 20?
Page 21.
Oh, 21?
Yeah.
20.
I'm on page 21.
1620. You're 1629.
I think that was, we were initially asking for a new desk and chair for Andy, but we will no longer have Andy, so I won't be needing it.
Okay.
Sarah?
Yes, I have a question about the festival and event reimbursement for under the special events line. It looks like the actual in 2024 was about 8,600. Then it was 50,000 sort of in the budget for this year. And we requested 10 and now it's at 25. I'm just wondering what that revenue, what is the source of that revenue? And it looks like it's still working itself out in terms of how much we do per year. I'm looking at page 23 of the budget.
Yeah, I know that we do have some reimbursement that comes from other departments for special events. As far as money revenue that comes in for us, we just created a new policy, well, procedure really on tracking vendors and permits for the different festivals. So we should be seeing an increase on that. But as far as that, the 25,000, unfortunately, that would also have to be a John question because I think a lot of that's coming from other departments.
I see. Thank you.
Sarah?
Yeah, what constitutes clerk's fees and games of chance?
We
41.
do all the, so clerk's fees.
Russian roulette down
No,
in Pittsburgh.
revenue items,
So game of chance would be like if any of the churches want to do bingo, or the American Legion, they do bingo, or they do bell jar, any of those, they're regulated by the state. And all
Right.
those permits and license come through my office.
and it's only $50 between.
Yeah, they're really, ever since, they used to be a lot higher, but once COVID hit, there really aren't places that are doing bingo or anything anymore.
And then clerk's fees.
So clerk fees would be, if you come in and get a copy of a marriage license or a birth certificate or death certificate, that would be considered a clerk fee.
They just seem very low.
Julissa, under ethics, 1415, you got $10,000 for consultants. Is that
I
for the
believe-
ethics committee or is that something else?
I think
I
you
think
guys
so.
put that there.
Well, that's there because if they need to have an outside lawyer, it's part of in the code that they need to have that line there. So it's usually not used. I think a few years ago, they actually did dip into it, but it's if our council has a conflict, they have it, but it's in the code that we need to have that money.
All right.
Happy to see you.
Okay. Anything else? See.
Yeah, what's the transient housing license under revenue?
So, all of the boarding houses, you changed the code, 2 years ago. I want to say it's 275. So now they all have to, every year, all the boarding houses and hotels, motels, not the, Airbnbs, but, everything else has to register on an annual basis. So December 1st, I'll send out the renewal notice. And the difference between last year and the year before was, I think there was one or two that decided they no longer wanted to have a boarding house.
Okay, great, thanks.
So Mark, something, I was very wrong with my answer that raises
That's
the
a-
contingency line.
I won't use
It's
the
$1
word.
million.
I need to-
So may the record show I was totally wrong.
So I'm sorry, line 5404 is,
5404, that's contingency, so that's the money that we're
that's the raise.
not stashing. We're being transparent. And now that I'm not saying the wrong thing to the public. So you can just ignore my email.
So,
There's another question for him, please, I'll not forget about that.
So is there some mandatory percentage that has to be held as contingency?
No.
No,
Is it just profit sharing?
I would actually recommend if you're gonna go into any detail on contingency, you go into.
Oh, okay.
Point session or executive session. I mean, there's a maximum that you can put aside. I believe it's either 5 or 10% of the operating budget, but we're nowhere near the maximum. But typically where we have unsettled union contracts, we typically make some reserve for potential awards for those contracts in a contingency account.
We've done that before.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you think about it, you know, if you don't put the money aside, then in a year, you know, if you're 2-3 years behind on the contract, and then you settle a contract, you gotta come up with 3 years of raises. And then the impact of that on the following budget is tremendous. Right, so. You know, you're kind of graduating to that level when you put in contingency. I mean, to some degree, to the extent that the prior year awards, that would likely have to come from fund balance. What's in there is just to cover current year payments for these unsettled contracts.
Easy budget. And then, multi-peril, what is that? Where is it? Multi-peril liability. What is that?
That's liability and property coverage. So that's like liability citywide, property coverage citywide.
That's our new policy taking effect, right?
That's NIGR, yeah.
Other questions for city clerk's department?
So I think this is the question that we were gonna ask John about festival and event revenue. That comes in from different departments and it's covered in the city clerk budget.
Yes, yeah, it's for not for police and fire, but for the other departments. We just put that there because there's just so many different departments that could possibly contribute to generating that revenue that, because the dollar amount's not the, you know, a large dollar amount, it makes sense to consolidate it in one spot.
Thank you.
We'll do that with grant revenue too, sometimes we find a whole department for grant revenue.
Sure.
So since the city clerk sent out the RFP for a consultant for the charter consultant thing, if the time comes for us to allocate money, will that go into the city clerk budget or would that go into the council budget?
I hadn't thought that out. My initial reaction would be come out of the common council budget. But ultimately, I mean, the city clerk.
Right, it's all
assigned.
done, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she manages both budgets internally, so.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Pull the roast out.
Elisa, we're here, tomorrow's budget meeting is in conference room 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a surprise.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. So tomorrow's budget meeting is also in here.
You though made me very.
There's a-
I know.
Yes.
I know. I know.
I'm so glad these people, oh, sorry, okay.
Right. I'm here, but you don't have to be.
All righty, we're moving down to the comptroller's budget. This is page 32 in the book. And we will have one last thing to discuss, and that would be the common council budget. After this, so don't jump up when we're done with the comptroller.
You also say that things are in there.
You could.
Okay.
City Hall.
I'm probably, yep.
All right, John, this is a big story in your department.
Well, you heard, I think, a little bit what Dan was talking about, some shifting of personnel. We have,
our department works pretty closely with the grants office on financial affairs and all the grants that the city has. So there's a lot going on here. So one of the things that happened during the year is, one of the split personnel between the grants office and my office physically moved their desk from grants down to our office. We've lost 2 positions over the last 2 years that we haven't backfilled. Our purchasing office and our accounts payable clerk, we didn't fill either position. We've been trying to cover as much of that internally as we can. It's not really feasible going forward. We've done it the best we can, but so we ended up moving with kind of the ARPA slowdown, one of the employees back, Bailey Short from grants back to our office. We've asked to refill one of the lost positions in the budget. That request is in there. I mean, overall, we've been extremely efficient in our office, computerizing, like working as short staffed as possible. But we're at a point now where we can't cross train or really do much of any of that right now because everyone's just slammed nonstop. So got a great career, but there's only so much I can ask of people. And we've got this new, you're very well aware of speed camera project coming in. My office will be probably carrying a brunt of that. So that's going to go through. You'll see we've beefed up the parking division quite a bit. I've asked to make our one part-time employee full-time. We've added 2. I have a standout parking crew. The one gentleman who's been part-time with us, he's been part-time for a number of years. I mean, not just him, all 3 of them are extremely reliable. But he's, so we've leaving that position full-time. We've added money for overtime to continue and expand upon some of the additional enforcement that we're doing. I think you'll see the offset is more than there on the revenue side, the projections and parking. So we've been mindful of that. Given a lot of thought to this budget. So that's those are some of the highlight points in terms of revenues. You'll see my budget. I see my budget. My department's budget is kind of like a catch-all for a lot of things that are just, they're kind of like citywide things, whether it's sales tax or other, large citywide revenue items. I did print out a updated sales tax report. This is my abbreviated update for finance side. I actually just got word today on most recent amount that we're going to be receiving. So, sales tax is been, I'll wait till everyone gets it. The sales tax has been pretty flat with last year. We're up $250,000 year over year, which in a grand scheme of things is $20 million budget where that everybody was a little over 1%. So we're at 1.59% over the year before, 25 or over 24. When I looked at the estimates, it looks like we'll probably end up somewhere between 20.3 and 20.4 million of sales tax this year. I mean, that's subject to change a little bit. The mayor's budget request for what he ultimately put in the budget for next year for sales tax, 20.4 million. I think that's reasonable. The extremely large revenue item, I think we need to be conservative with it. And I mean, even at 20.4 million doesn't necessarily protect us against the downturn, but that's essentially the budget for 26 for sales tax is, if everything stays status quo, that's what it would look like. So.
Terrell, then Mike, and
Sure. Yeah, maybe just go through the question.
So, on the revenue side, interest and earnings went from 1,165,680 in 2024. Then it dropped down to 725,000 Now it's down to 475. What, I'll be like, what are we investing in such that the interest
The Krispy Kreme donut stuff is dropping.
is dropping like that? That's-
We, it's really a matter, I mean, it's a combination of available cash balances declining because we're able to retain, any interest earnings off of the ARPA money, we were able to retain. Okay, so we were able to, accrue interest on the ARPA money, as well as now the interest rates have fallen over where they were a couple of years ago. But we invest in municipal investment pools, which are pretty much the standard now with New York municipalities. So we invest in a what's called NICLAS, is our primary investment pool.
And what's the rate of return on?
You know, you low fours. So
if we go back before ARPA, are we similar to where we were before that, or is this number high, low?
Oh, I don't, the number that we have in there for the 475 is the, or I'm sorry, let me get back to the interest in earning. The 475, yeah, that's not a low number. It went very high during ARPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, I mean, we've never seen those numbers before prior to ARPA, but you have to keep in mind, $17 million on top of is what came in with 17.3 from ARPA, on top of the city's, 10 million plus at any point in time. There's a lot of money invested at one point, we're well over 5% interest rates.
Wow. So
So
from 10 million, you made 475,000 in interest and more?
no, I mean, our cash balances vary throughout the year, but earlier in the year, our cash balances would have been over $10 million. They're not now. They're not now. We get a little cash like this time of year, but yeah.
So just year to year, from 25 to 26, it dropped from 725,000. Was ARPA money still involved there? And so now it's dropping.
Partial, I mean, to some extent, there's some ARPA money. I'm not projecting, there will be very little ARPA. We should be careful with our words. There is no ARPA money left. ARPA money technically was gone at the end of last year. It's now been converted to city money, but that money that's been set aside for capital projects that is still invested, there's not gonna be a lot left going into next year. You're looking at a couple $1 million.
One of the things that made ARPA unique was that they gave us the money.
Right, and then.
It wasn't first instance, so we got the money, you got to bank it.
Yeah, we were making at one point over $100,000 a month of interest.
Wow.
On our. It was significant.
I understand, but the 475 seems really low. Seems like you're investing it. I mean, I understand you need to be.
Lower.
But that number is what is more within the realm of normal. If this went back 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years, you'd see that the $1 million, the 725, those were high.
Well, yeah, because the interest rates were higher then.
And the ARPA money was in there.
The cash balances were much higher.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take 10 million at 4%, that's 400,000 a year. So we're looking at 445. So it's, I mean, it's a crapshoot because you have to estimate what's going to happen with interest rates. I mean, interest rates have come down, they haven't bottomed out, and you have to estimate what you think your available cash balances are. And that's what we try to do.
And what does the state make? In other words, what's the interest rate that the state makes on average for the investment of their funds? I think it's like 5%, 6%. It's
not sure what you're referring to what the state makes. We don't have any ability to invest in the state. This is what we invest in is a municipal investment pool that hundreds of municipalities invest in.
Right.
So that, which would be a higher rate than, generally speaking, would be a higher rate than if we invested, like M&T Banks or lead banks. The NICLAS offers us a much higher rate than what M&T could offer us or what Bank of Greene County could offer us, or any of the other banks that we deal with, Chase, or in the past we dealt with TD Bank. NICLAS gives us the best rate. We used to use NILAF as well as NICLAS, and NICLAF and NICLAS just merged within the last 6 months. So we had two municipal investment pools, but they basically mirrored each other. Their rates were almost identical. I think if you look at, you look at some of your old reports from me, you'll see down in the investment section, different balances of money at different rates. You'll see like one would be like 0.02% off from the other one because they were so close. But I'm not sure if I answered your question. I feel like there's something else on.
No, I just remember reading like the state comptroller's report, and there, you know, and what he was indicating is that the rate of return that the state received was something like 6%.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of anything that we would. There's nothing I'm aware of that we could get 6% on that.
The retirement system.
But yeah, that's different because they invest in stocks and bonds and, you know, so we're governed by our investment policy and what we legally can invest in. We're relatively conservative with how we invest because the number one priority of a municipality is conservation of principle, right? Like, you know, I'm going to invest a lot more aggressively in my own personal portfolio than I am for the city of Kingston, right? City money, right? So we have to, conservation of principle is number one. You have to have a safe investment. It's allowed by state law. Years ago, the city, you know, prior to my being here, invested in just put the money in CDs and banks. That's what they did. Just CDs and banks. And we could still do that. But if we did that now, we'd be earning 2-3%. Right. So I'm going to say back, it's got to be close to 10 years ago now that probably at least 10 years ago, we started looking at these municipal investment pools that we knew other municipalities in the school district. At least they were with NICLAS. I don't know if they still are, but I knew at one point they were. And we looked into that, and that's a growing thing with municipalities now, but it allows us to allows all municipalities to leverage the, you know, larger pool of money to gain better rates. It's a safe investment, so it's collateralized. But yeah, I mean, that's anytime I've priced investments or looked at rates in return, I really can't do any better. I mean, there's one other, I think the council approved, I made a change to the investment policy a year or so ago to allow for this reciprocal investment fund. I won't get too in the weeds on it, but when we looked into it, it's the rate of return is negligible compared to what we're looking at. So I haven't moved on it, but you know, you're talking hundreds of a percent. Yeah, it's like it's negligible. We really, I think, are doing pretty well with our investments overall.
Sure.
The under revenue, the occupancy tax, so what are we basing that on, what percentage?
I think the mayor's put that out there. Is it 2 or 3%? But the mayor wanted to put a placeholder in there to, you know, to move forward with an occupancy tax for the city of Kingston.
Right, I know.
I apologize. I don't recall whether it was 2 or 3%. It was just, it's really a placeholder number.
Okay.
But quite frankly, I don't know how attainable that number is for this year. You know, look at how quickly are you going to get the law.
Michael, Sarah, and Steve. Go ahead.
It's not directed towards you, but following on Michelle's point, I do think we can actually go higher on the occupancy tax without overburdening our hospitality industry. But I was curious if you could tell me what the franchise tax is and why has that just been level?
The franchise tax is what we collect from Time Warner.
Oh, okay. And then if I could, can I ask a parking question or do you, or are you gonna ask like a revenue question?
I'm asking a revenue question.
Okay, I'll go after. So we can stay on the topic of
We
revenue.
can stay on the topic of revenue. So my question was, it says New York State revenue sharing. What exactly is that?
It's state aid. It's, it's annual, revenue, it's called paid, aid money, aid incentive to municipalities. It's an
Okay.
annual allotment that the city gets. You'll see the numbers higher this year.
Yes.
The city has received, 2 years now, this temporary municipal financial assistance. The mayor is, in his budget, is counting on that money becoming permanent. So, there is some risk of that money not coming in that budget. Just put that out there, right? So I mean, we increased that budget from the 3,069,151, and that's the number we have received for years.
Okay.
And we received a temporary increase, spending a couple of state budgets now, up to that 3,446,000. So the mayor's
Okay.
anticipating that we'll continue that. I just want to put it out there. There's no guarantee that that money will come in.
There's one more revenue question.
Sure.
The New York State Star reimbursement. I see that ended. Is that placed somewhere else? The last line there.
Sorry.
New York State Star reimbursement 3089 on the bottom of page 33, the last line. Oh, we're not looking, sorry.
13.
Wait, but we're looking at the budget.
Yeah. You're okay.
We're looking at a different.
All right.
No, that's all right.
John, that may have been a mild administrative number.
I think what that is actually, where that additional money from the state was reported in 2024.
Oh, got it.
Okay, so we've combined and put it all into the revenue sharing line.
Okay.
Does that say enough there, Dan?
I got my eyes on you guys.
I see.
Scared the crowd out of me.
All right.
Thank you, John.
You're following up on your earlier question.
Yeah, so regarding parking, for in terms of the violations, we're anticipating 725,000, but speaking of sort of this year's, are we on track to meet that 515,000, or are people just sort of, are people paying their parking tickets?
Yes, we're already. I just got locked out of my computer. We're over 515 already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do anticipate meeting that $725,000.
Yeah.
With the new overtime, which I do think is very good.
I'll be honest. I mean, I think there's, I'll throw two caveats out there. One caveat being, assuming my staff is healthy and continues, and a lot of it is, I've got 3 excellent staff members and they know their jobs. The unknown is we don't know at this point how much the speed camera project is going to pull away from our current staff. I mean, that's, we are a little concerned about capacity. We're team players. We're going to jump in, do everything we can, but, there's still questions about how many tickets are going to be issued with the phone call and all the workload that is going to create. And if that pulls staff off of writing tickets, then
So at what point do you want to move one of your part-time to full-time, but at what point do you just hire another part-time parking enforcement officer?
I don't think we're there yet. I would want to see how next year kind of plays out a little bit.
Okay.
For me, it's just, look, I would love to have another staff person, but it's really about having the right fit, the right person. I don't want to find the right balance of having adequate coverage out on the street and writing tickets and, making sure that our parking regulations are being followed versus an oversaturation as well, right? So, try to find that balance. The person we're talking about moving from part-time to full-time has been working and to a large degree 5 hours a day already. So it's going to add 2 extra hours a day for that person. So, it's going to give us additional capacity, but it's not a ton.
Okay.
But part of it, Michael's expecting that, our parking supervisor is going to be pulled off of writing some tickets with the new speed camera program coming in and getting phone calls and dealing with issues there. So, this 2 extra hours a day that we're getting from, our part-time person going full-time will help offset some of that.
Okay, I
don't necessarily anticipate that part-time to full-time creating a lot more tickets.
Have you ever projected the amount of revenue that would be collected if we started the parking meter at the Cornell Street lot? In front of
We put in parking meters.
Frank Litos.
The lot there.
That would, you're trying to, what are you suggesting?
I mean, it's free parking.
Yeah.
But all of our other municipal lots are charged. Well, not all of them, but most of them.
Well, there was a kiosk there.
But to put the electronic kiosk in, like there is on Fair Street,
On Cornell?
yeah, approximately how much revenue would be generated by that lot?
I don't want to give you an off the cuff answer. It's not gonna be a lot. It's not gonna be a lot.
It's just not a good idea, affecting businesses. I think that was a complaint when it was suggested some years ago.
The parking lots, I mean, a lot of the revenue is generated from the passes, right? Parking passes generate a lot of revenue. But a lot, it would probably be in the $10,000 range, maybe, something like that, but I'd have to run numbers for you. We are, just as a side note, Andrew, I think I mentioned this to you, we are we will be replacing our parking app with another parking app. So we're down to we've got one that we're zeroing in on, so the company already know business with.
When I finished yelling at this one, we're gonna start doing. I gotta yell at.
Well, we want to use an app that is reference, and people can use in other municipalities, like Flowbird. You don't see really too many places, right? So
The one I use in Albany is,
what do you use in Albany?
well, Port Albany,
Passport.
yeah.
That's who we're talking about.
And
Yeah,
New
it's-
Paltz, I don't know who's New Paltz, New Paltz.
Super easy,
Yeah.
super easy and just free.
Yeah, well, one of the issues with how Flowbird is it's down a lot. It's down a lot, so we're aware of that. So we're in discussions with replacing that and keeping the customers. Goal would be keeping the customers' transaction fees at or below where they're at now.
I received a constituent call from a new constituent that moved up from the city and was screaming into my voicemail about not being able to put his credit card over it.
And the issue that we're dealing with Flowbird right now is with new customers. It can be done. It's not always intuitive.
Steve?
Right. Two things. I see you have consultants in a couple different lines here. What's the difference between those? Under expenses.
Well, so are you looking at this sheet? So under 1315 5411, the $9,000. That's mainly for, we have a consultant that has to do the OPEB valuation every year. And then that's also for various tax and accounting consulting that we need during the year. Like we had to bring on a tax person to do some of these energy credits for us, to get some of the money back on some of these so we had to file a return with the IRS. So that paid for itself 10 times over. But so that's that money. And then under 13, somewhere here, there is another consultant that's our auditor. I'm trying to remember. 1320. Yeah, so third line from the bottom of the first page, Steve. 39,050. That's our outside auditor. That consultant. Right. Yeah. So that's Yeah, I think that those are the two consultants that we have.
Okay, and the other thing, just out of curiosity, what is the ban interest? Banning interest?
That's our, the interest on our short-term debt. The ban is, it's an abbreviation for a bond anticipation note, which is essentially a short-term debt instrument. So, what happened in 2025, we converted a lot of our short-term notes to long-term. So you're going to see a lot of variation in our debt lines with the conversion from short-term to long-term. Like the transfer to debt service, like you'll see on page 3 of this, it goes from 2.1 to 2.9 million.
Yeah, I noticed that. So that's really the moving around of the money. But
Well,
the debt still exists, it's just in a different line.
Yes, so we issue debt in the form of a bond anticipation note. It's a short-term note. You can only put it out for 1 year as a maximum of a 1 year maturity. And roll it over at least 5 times. There are some changes during COVID, but the prior rules were you can roll it over 5 times. So when it matures, you can take it out for another year. You bid it out, whatever the interest rate is at that time, you roll it out for another year. And then at some point within that 5 years, you have to convert it over to a long-term bond.
Got it.
So in 2025, just back in August this year, we converted a substantial amount of short-term debt to bond. So but the overall, the net is there is a big pickup in debt service in the general fund because of, I've been talking about it for months, right? I mean, the capital projects that we've been embarking on. There's a certain amount of, massaging that you can do with some of these numbers. Sometimes, you work with our fiscal advisor and trying to, get the most advantageous for our taxpayers. And just when it's in bond, there's really, almost everything's in bond right now. There's nothing you can do. Those are set coupon payments. There's really no maneuverability with what we have there right now.
I see, okay, so we went from 25, looking at 1116 canvas tanks.
Yes.
25, and I guess it was 85,000, which is conservative, to 175,000. That's what we're anticipating for 26. That's probably just.
Well, for 26, that's the number Mayor wanted to use. We're still in the infancy of this right now, and we're looking at, I think we'll be short of 100,000 this year in 25. The revenue was, we had 25,000 in the budget. We're way over the budget right now. So I think $175,000 budget for next year is attainable. Will we hit that? I don't know. We could come short. We could go over that amount. It's just going to depend on how well these cannon shots do. But we're seeing already. I got locked out of my computer, so I can't pull it up. I think we're over 85,000 or somewhere that number.
Right.
Or 25. Yeah. So
How do we allocate? Where's that money go? How we go?
As of right now, it's going into the general fund to offset taxes. But the council can always look to do something different with it.
Thanks.
Sure. Good.
Just back to these speed cameras.
Yes.
The part-time going to full-time, will they be reviewing the footage or?
No, because I'm kind of backfilling different things, but my part-time to full-time is to help offset, because my parking supervisor, who's already full-time, that person, we haven't determined who is exactly doing what, but one of my existing 2 full-time people in parking are likely going to be reviewing the footage and approving citations.
Okay.
So this person who's going from part-time to full-time is going to pick up a little bit of slack in the field while they're doing other office work and presumably handling phone calls, emails, you name it. I know it's coming.
Did you want to ask it?
Yeah. Me? Yeah, okay.
You know, the one beyond you.
Fees and forfeited bail.
Yes.
What is that?
That is, those are the revenues coming through from the court system.
Oh.
Yeah, so those items is just a monthly check from the court. So the additional enforcement that the police department's been doing, we're seeing a boost in those numbers. But the one thing I'll have to tell you is we don't see any detail on this. We have one lump sum check. So there's really no breakdown of, what's generating that. We know that intuitively that based upon the additional enforcement that coincides with the pickup in revenue from the court, but we don't get a report that says, A to Z, this is the tickets and fines that were collected, and it's getting a nice check from the court.
As long as they keep sending the money, right?
Well, if it didn't pick up based upon the activity that we're aware of, then we would. Right, so I mean, it does manage. Yes. It's just another one of the general revenue items that flows through our budget.
Other questions, gentlemen? I don't see any more questions. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you back.
I think we have to do it.
Yeah. I hate being out. I'm glad I can see that. Physically, I just haven't felt great, so. But I'm getting it. It's been a process.
Yep, it is.
Don't recommend.
Hopefully it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it.
That's all we can
That's what he said. It'll be
Yeah,
worth it.
no, it'll be worth it.
It's just
It's gonna be tough. I don't see.
I apologize.
No.
So, we would be involved in thinking of increasing some of your revenue estimates. So like we wanted to increase the estimate for, say, the county sales tax by 1%.
You certainly could. I mean, are you asking my opinion, or are you just saying like how hard would it be to run a number?
Well, there's the issue of running the number, but wondering would there be any real effect on the tax increase? So, what would be involved? I think it'd be nice if I could see, or I don't know if people would see, we're right now talking about a 5% increase, right?
So are you talking
over the tax cap, right?
Well, you have a 9 in my computer. You have a tax increase of nearly 10% year over year in the levy itself.
Mm-hmm.
So every 1% is roughly 200,000. The only thing I would caution you with adjusting estimates is the mayor's budget includes already a lot of adjusted estimates. And, when this budget started, the tax increase was in a much different place than what you see now. We were well over 20%. And double. And he got an increase to 10. I will tell you that I think there's pressure the next several years. So I think just caution you that when you adjust this year, if it's just an estimate, it's not actually changing real money coming in. You're not creating a new law or a new source of revenue, or you're not truly cutting an expense or just adjusting an estimate of an expense.
potentially compound future tax increase down the line, because I don't see this, even though like this year is a difficult year, budgetarily, we saw a difficult year last year in COVID. I don't see this changing next year either, so I would just caution on that, is that, you know, I see some things here, you know, for example, you know, like you look at Public Works and you look at, you know, some of the police department where you have positions that are budgeted half the year. Well, you know, if those positions get filled, you got a half a year, you got a half position you have to pick up in 27 budget. So each one of those are built in how much more than $50,000 a follow. You know, I see a lot of pressure on the 27 budget already. To be frank, so, you know, I've expressed the same thing to the mayor. Doesn't mean that you can't, you know, whittle around a little bit, but just with the understanding that, you know, it could be an exact same position next year, you know, with this budget apprentice. You know, there's a fundamental issue with, you know, we just have so much our revenue budget is so dependent upon sales tax. And our expenses are so baked in with capital and employees, and, you know, employees are always going to get their raises. There's a general range of what those raises look like. It's hard to control the health insurance increases, the state pension increases, the state tells us what those numbers are going to be, you know, year after year. I mean, this year alone, the state pension increases and health insurance far exceed the tax cap, far exceed the tax cap. Those two, before you even looked at giving an employee an extra penny, before you put another dollar aside for any increased debt service. So there's certainly going to be inherent pressure in the budget for a while, unless we see some systematic change, you know, or, you know, new revenue sources, you know.
I think I asked you this once before. In terms of employee contributions to their health insurance, what kind of leeway do we have?
The council or the city?
The city.
Well, the city, it's all collective bargaining, right? So so it's all collective bargained. You know, it's a topic of conversation every time we sit down with the unions to negotiate a new contract.
But outside of the union, those workers outside of the union.
Well, the management, there's a management policy that was adopted by the council, which covers that. But essentially it's, you know, those workers pay essentially what the union pays.
That's pretty much everybody. Everybody's either one of the unions or management company.
Yeah, and virtually, I mean, there's, yeah.
But it's like 10%, which is, it's usually like 10%.
It's all over the board. It's a percent. Most of the contracts have some grandfathering where newer employees may pay more than the old, you know, I say newer, like employees with more longevity, right? So like you basically negotiated a new tier of health insurance.
Right.
And some cases there is a percentage cap, there is a dollar cap and a percentage.
Right.
So it could say 10%.
But not
The great, you'll pay the lesser of 10% for, you know, $2,500.
Right.
So in a lot of cases, it hits the $2,500 first.
Right.
So, but that's not going to change overnight. It's got to change through collective bargaining.
I'm more talking about like management level. Can we have them contribute more?
That's a core council question. I mean, that's a policy that's adopted by.
We'd have to change the policy.
Yeah, change the policy.
Yeah, I would just recommend you talk to core council on it.
I just think it's way below what people outside of the city pay in terms of their contribution?
But we're also compensated
Compensation is less.
a lot less.
It's not that much less.
Well,
It's not.
I would just speak, I would just say that management, there are members of management who don't make as much as some union as well, so just keep that in mind. I mean, there's some lower end management employees, I say lower end, lower compensation level.
A lot of the departments who spoke tonight had positions that they manage that are paid more.
That are what?
Paid more.
All right, anything else for John?
The only thing, is send me an email, I can, or call me.
we know where.
Good to have you back. Yes.
It's good to be back. It is.
Yeah, welcome back.
I was worried how I'm gonna be able to hold up physically being here for 3 hours. All right.
You're not back at work yet.
No. That's not.
But you answer phone calls and emails.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working, I'm just, yeah,
Just, yeah, but coming and going and being here, that takes its.
I was here today. For a few hours.
So your exercises, you're doing them?
And you're.
Forgot to call you.
I still can't, this is as much as I can move my arm after mine, so.
Yeah,
do your exercises.
I'm trying, I'm part-time, so get there.
They work.
I'm fanatical about it, so we'll see.
Okay. So, next.
Last thing is to start thinking about the suggested increase in the only council pay. So we don't need to decide this tonight, of course, but I just like I would like you to think about it, because what we have done in years past, when it looked like we were facing difficult times, we have symbolically not taken the increase in pay. The other side of that is that we then tend to fall behind in terms of commensurate pay. There's also, I think, a case to be made that the common council, given the amount of work that we do, does not get paid enough. We're looking here at increase of, I think it's $12,700 total, which is, I think, a little bit more than 10%.
And so they will pay me.
Page 19. That's the general overall, but then the more specific numbers, they are at page 24. So we're talking about council president, we're doing $12,050, $13,300, and majority leader was from $10,550 to $11,800, and then the other 9 or the other 8 members of council with an increase of $1,000. No, yeah. So it moves from 80,400 to 90,000. So that would be a fairly significant decrease. Yeah.
I mean, I've been advocating for increase for the council for several years, and last year I agreed with the rest of the council that it wasn't the time, but I know we're in the same situation now, but it seems like we're going to be in a similar situation, and like Brittany said, we're just so far behind of how much work that we put in and what others are paid or given, not really paid, that I just think we need to bite the bullet and do it this year and to get us a little bit closer, and then maybe come up with some kind of system. Although we've talked about that in the past, it's kind of hard because when you're tying council or future councils, but and I guess this could be rope into or loop into the conversation, but some other great things that I'll probably brought up during the budget session. If it's more appropriate for us, what we're doing with others, but I would still advocate for the increase.
Mike?
I think I've made my position on, I do think we're underpaid. I do think we do more than part-time work. This is like another full-time job on top of most of our full-time jobs. But I still do not believe this is the year to do that.
We literally get paid for $4. I mean, 4 hours. That's what's on there.
That's $15 a night. At minimum wage.
No.
But you were just some information on that mayor's plan. I don't know how much this was communicated, but what Mayor communicated to me, showing his budget was a 4-year plan to raise council salaries pretty systematically over 4 years. He actually gave me specific dollar amounts per year. But essentially, by 29, it would get the members of the council up to 15,000, majority leader up to 15,500, and then the president 17,000 would be where it would end up with his plan. But it would be, you're looking at, $1,200-$1,300 increases each year to get to there. But that was based upon what he saw. He did like the NICOM salary survey. There's no scientific way to do it because it's all over the board, but that was, his thoughts.
All right.
I would totally understand if that's what we end up deciding, because again, but I think it's just not happens.
Then the classic arguments that it discourages people, the low paying, and we're losing people who have childcare issues, and people have, we're losing a group of people for whom it makes a difference.
I hear that, but I think if we were really if that was a serious argument at our level, we'd be looking at increasing this,
Significant.
50%.
Yeah.
Right, that doesn't affect when that they're.
It's these steps you're never gonna get.
I think, but part of it is also we're about to go into a charter review. Our responsibilities could radically change in the next 18 months. So that conversation can happen then. So to me, the council that exists right now and the roles that we serve and our responsibilities could be extremely different 4 years from now. So I don't think that, the projecting out is nice and all. And I'm so glad that he mentioned our raises rather than his own in his budget address. But I think that now is not the time to do so.
All right.
Food for thought.
I would say more like liquor for drink.
What's the total amount, with all the positions? Not the mayor's, but just the council majority leader?
12,750, I think.
Something like that.
That's the total increase we're talking about.
For this year.
For next, for 2026.
It's, if you don't mind me saying, it's so insignificant.
Not gonna make a difference.
And that the only difference it will make will be the optics of it. And I can't see contemplating passing these kinds of costs on to the taxpayers and taking that rate. However, that's my personal.
All right. Thank you all for being here.
Well, fire and building safety.
I cannot make it tomorrow, so somebody can.
I thought either done either here.
Maybe online tomorrow, then I'll be here in person for the right vote.
All right, I'm just saying if there's any, I've been taking questions. I don't know.
Oh, there are any questions?
I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be here, I'll be here.
Wrap up. The wrap up, I will not. It's
Oh,
20.
yeah.
Also,
I'm assuming it's going to need a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Good night.